So this was wild. Just not what was expected. There was a mid-morning trade on Father's Day, no less, that took place between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic that sent Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic in return for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round draft picks, and a swap. 16th pick in this year's draft, 2026, which is going to be Phoenix's pick, which could be, I mean, that's the gem of all of it, right? Then an unprotected pick in 2028, 2029, a first-round swap, and another first-round pick in 2030. Desmond Bane had a 5-year, $200 million contract that he had signed with the Grizzlies. He has 4 of those years remaining at $36, $39, $42, and $45 million left. All right, so look, here's one of the things, and obviously we have talked about this a great deal since the season ended with a tremendous thud, and Zach Kleiman took to the podium and said that this team was not close, and we weren't going to kid ourselves that we were close. You look at the payroll, and you look at the amount of money that John Morant and Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson are going to get paid, and if you say, all right, here's that core group of guys, and that's not good enough, then what is the natural pivot? And then we, of course, like, you didn't have to be detectives to parse through. Anybody that pays attention to our show knows when we watch that press conference, he's very clear. My relationship with John Morant is the best it's been. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. This team is building around John Morant. John Morant is the guy. He is the face of the franchise, right? No matter what anybody says, no matter what reports are out there, I'm not trading him. He's the face of the franchise. We are doing this with Ja in mind. We have made decisions with Ja in mind. And again, people can argue with that. I'm fine with that. If you say that's silly, but that is the standard in which he set. And then he went on to say, and we are prioritizing a contract extension for Jaren Jackson Jr. So then, of course, we all come in here as we're parsing through it. We're going, okay. And so let's just say, while shocking that it happened on a Sunday morning on Father's Day, yesterday morning, if you would have told me Desmond Bane has moved this offseason, you, all of us would have been totally non-pulsed on that. That would be totally unsurprising, given the circumstances of what happened with the team, the financial situation that they're in, and then, like, okay, and you have talked about this many, many times, Roser. You have said, look, if you are committing to Ja, do you have a Lillard-McCollum situation here where it's like, okay, you can only hide one of these guys somewhere. You're going to have to get perimeter defense and wings at some point. And so while we love Desmond Bane, is that the best kind of fit next alongside the guy that you have decided this is what you're doing, right? And so, given that he had signed a $200 million contract, the other thing is, look, if we're being fair, the local opinion on Bane got lower.
Playoffs for sure.
Because of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I will just say, when he went 20 for 63 and then 7 for 32 from 3 in the playoff games that we had against Oklahoma City, it's like, all right, like, that can't be, right? Yeah. Like, that was not – he just did not show well in those playoffs, and obviously I'm going to give him a break on – and that was they had already moved to Isolo and more of a pick-and-roll based offense. Yeah. That offense, I am going to give him a pass on the season, much like I did Morant for a good portion of the season, where I say it was good for the collective. The offense was good for the collective, obviously by the numbers. It was not good for the best players, right? John Morant and Desmond Bane. I think, let me just say, you ain't going to hear us say a false word about Desmond Bane as a guy or a player. huge fans of Desmond Bane. I think he's going to be fantastic in Orlando. I do. I think he's going to be fantastic in Orlando.
That starting five
best
is
great.
Catch and shoot, bro. They were at the bottom of the league in catch and shoot.
I also think that's a great
fit.
fit. Yeah. I also think, and this has been interesting because we're going to get to all of the reactions to it. I also think that, and look, you are listening to a show that loves Desmond Bane. You cannot turn down 2 veteran role players and 4 picks for Desmond Bane. I'm sorry.
You can't do that on 2K. I tried to do it on 2K last night. They would not let me do it. So you can't turn that down.
Yeah.
You can't turn that down.
No.
And you can say, well, the Orlando's going to be good, so those picks are. It's the assets that are. And if there's anything that we have learned, it is that you never know. You never know.
Yep.
2 years in a row, the Grizzlies were the 2 seed. The 2 seed. They won 56 games, and they won 51 games, and they were the 2 seed overall. And then the next year, they won 27 games because the whole thing went to hell, right? And so imagine if that pick was gone. You just don't know the way this stuff's going to play out. Interestingly enough, when you go back to 2 years ago, and you say, all right, Memphis was the 2 seed 2 years ago, right? You know who the 3 seed was? Take a stab.
What, 2 years ago?
Yep.
In the West?
in the
It
West.
was
Yep.
Denver. Was it Kings?
It was Sacramento.
It was
yeah,
Sacramento.
Yeah, it had to be
Okay.
Sacramento.
That was a good King.
These
yeah.
things change fast.
Light the beam,
The point
yeah.
is, these things change fast, right?
Yeah.
The 3 seed was Sacramento.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about it was one of those where it was like, oh my God, I can't believe they traded Desmond Bane, to, oh my God, I can't believe what they just got for Desmond Bane. Now, we will see what happens with the players that they attained, but Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has been a wing player on teams that have won titles.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And is a vet. I have told you there is a type of attitude and there is a type of veteran leadership. Somebody that's done some winning, right?
Yes.
That's what I want. I
Yes.
want somebody that's done some winning, right? And I do think that he could be a tremendous asset for the team. And obviously, both of those contracts, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony, both fall into that range, as does Brandon Clark, as does John Konchar, where it's like these are easy ones to pair with. You have all your own picks, too.
Yes.
So if you are trying to, and so I'm going to say this. I don't think the Desmond Bane trade is even close to. I don't think the roster that you look at today is going to look anything like the roster you see by the time we get to training camp. But that it is not being treated as such. The trade is generally being treated as, well, hold on now, they got worse, right? And so is this playing chess, right? Like,
long
okay,
game.
now we
Yeah.
are attempting, because we want to. If the idea is you want to build out the best way you possibly can around Jaren Jackson and John Morant, which, again, it is totally fair for people to say, well, that's a fool's errand, except one of the things, and again, I'm going to get to all of the reaction stuff, but they were the 2 seed and they won 56 games. And then they were the 2 seed and they won 51 games. And then they had like the season from hell and everybody got injured and they ended up tanking it out, right? The rest of the way,
Yep.
right? And then last year, they were the 2 seed for all the way up until mid-February. And then it went horribly wrong. Like, miserably wrong, to the point where they ended up firing the coach, right? Guys got injured, they fired the coach, they couldn't beat good teams, the schedule got harder, all of that stuff, all right? But this whole, like, and keep in mind, okay? This is the crazy thing to me. They had John Morant for 50 games last year, okay? They had John Morant for 50 of the 82 last year. They started a kid that they picked, was it 36th in the draft? Where was Wells? Was it 36?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
The second round.
The second
right?
round, yeah.
Okay, so they started him last year. They started the 36th pick in the draft. They started Zach Edey last year. who was, what, the 11th pick?
39th for...
Was Edie 11?
Edie was 9.
Nine,
This
I'm
was
sorry.
39. Yeah.
Okay, he was 39th
Yeah,
pick.
39.
So the 39th pick and the 9th pick in the NBA draft started. Ja Morant missed 50 games, right? And they were 2 games separated from the 3 seed. There was a 2-game difference between the 3 seed and the 8 seed.
Yeah.
And that's with all of that taking place. So how? It's just like everything else when we talk about the Grizzlies and the way the outside world views them. How did that happen? If they are so far, you know what I mean? And we admit, right? Like they can't compete with Oklahoma City. But how are they 2 games behind everybody else? Except for Houston.
Yeah.
Who I didn't see them in the Western Conference Finals either, right?
Jaren put them on the back.
Like you were somehow in the mix with all of these teams, and yet, you know, this team is in need of blowing it up, I suppose. But look, there was a 2-game separation between the 3, and look, forget 2, we could name 10 games that were like, oh my God. How did you lose those?
Oh, the three in a row. The 3 in a row.
The 3 in a row at home where you were winning all of them.
Hawks, Spurs, Knicks. Those are the ones that pop in my head.
3-game winners in a row at the buzzer.
Yeah, those just piss me off.
3. If you win those 3, and again, every team can probably do this, but I doubt it. I don't think teams lost 3 games
3 in a row at a buzzer.
3 in a row at the buzzer.
3 buzzer beaters at home.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
If you win those 3, you're the 3 seed.
Right.
And then what are people talking about? Right? But instead, you didn't.
And your coach got fired.
Yeah, right. And your coach got fired. And your coach got fired.
There's so many circumstances that happened last year, bro,
Yeah.
that are like so weird, and you still kind of like came out
Right.
decent.
And so here's what I will say. If this is the only move, of course. None of us are going to be happy with that.
I don't think there's.
Is this a move to be able to rebuild this team, to remake? How about this? Forget rebuild. Reshape this
the
team.
team.
Yeah.
Like, we got our team, right? It's like putting
You're
a BBL.
you're
on-
retooling.
We putting a BBL on the team, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Brazilian butt lift over here. You know what I'm saying?
We got to find out if it's going to be made by a real doctor or if we're having to go to parts unknown to get this done.
Exactly. We're just remixing the team a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's a good trade.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's a good trade.
I love
You
my
have
dog.
to-
I love
you
my
have
dog.
to
No
make
way
that
around
trade.
it.
You have to make that
and,
trade.
and the only people that are not saying that's a good trade for the Grizzlies, like, again, they're never going to say anything good. Honestly, number 2 is the media reaction. It took Desmond Bane leaving for anybody to like him. It's unbelievable. Desmond Bane got so much better the second he got traded out of Memphis. It's unbelievable. I hear people talking
the
about
national
this.
pundits?
Oh my God!
Oh, they're
I
over.
heard lockdown defender.
Who?
I also.
Who said that?
You also have, and look, I heard my boss, Bill Simmons, I was driving in and I was listening to him and Russillo, and he was like, I was just at the NBA Finals, and Bates the kind of guy you could put in a game like that. You could have watched the games versus Oklahoma City. He couldn't do anything.
No.
Yeah, I hate those nerds.
Anything. Like, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Anything. He was 20 for 62.
I mean,
He couldn't do anything versus them. So, like, he couldn't be in that series against Oklahoma City. You know how I know? Because I watched it.
Yeah.
you watched it.
I watched
And then we had our
I
boy,
watched
we
it.
had
I
our boy
watched the
Windhorst.
series.
We had about Windhorst. So with this Desmond Bane trade, this is a sign the Grizzlies are gonna blow it up.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. On the Windhorst front, on Kevin O'Connor, everybody else, there are a lot of, there's going to be people and teams and agents and everybody else around the league that are saying that.
Yeah.
And that, I'm going to defend them on this, right? Because it's fair. It is fair. It is fair. You
Why
may not like it.
Why would we blow a team up in a small market?
Because here's what I'm telling you. The reason it's fair is because when people see a trade like this that makes you worse, their immediate reaction is that didn't make you better. And so our expectation is that it is a means to get better, right?
Yes,
that you made that trade to get
better.
better. There's a lot of people in the league, and in fairness, for good reason, that look at it and they go, "Oh wait, they're actively getting worse," right? Like, and again, I'm one of those that says context is everything. You look at last year and you had no John Morant for 50 games. You got literally nothing out of Marcus Smart. Nothing. Zero. And that was supposed to be your starting small forward last year. You started the 39th pick and you started the 9th pick and you were able to win 48 games somehow, some way, with a coach that got fired and a star player that never plays and whatever else. And you were 2 games away from what the record was for the 3 seed. Okay? Yeah. That all happened. So, but what most people say, again, there's no context to anything they're talking about generally, right? Yeah. They don't pay attention to the Grizzlies. They've watched Desmond Bane play 5 games in his life.
Yeah. Also, another thing, too, he's durable as hell. Des plays games.
He's great.
Yeah, plays games.
Look, we love Desmond Bane. The return is crazy.
Yeah. But shout out to, look, the Oklahoma City series didn't go great.
Bridges, right?
And we lost that play into Golden State. Dude, he was freaking awesome in that Warriors game.
Great.
Man. Dez was awesome in that Warriors game in San Francisco.
Absolutely fantastic, right? And maybe that's the one they watch.
Yeah, I just don't like when the conversation gets like.
Well, no. So here's the blow it up thing.
It bothers me.
No, because you have to take into consideration. Let's just say Utah. Let's say Utah, right? Mm-hmm. Utah wasn't good enough, right? And then they traded Royce O'Neal, and you got the famous Windhorst double fingers.
What's
in the air,
going
right?
on here? Yeah.
And then what happened next? They traded Donovan Mitchell and they traded Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Right.
So he thinks it's the same thing.
No, it's just it's not unfair to think that a team could do that.
What it is when you do make a trade and trade one of your best players, and the crown jewel of the trade that you are getting back
is a pick.
Is a draft pick.
Yeah.
That pick that's probably going to be Phoenix's first rounder next year, because I think it's Washington or Phoenix.
Right.
Washington's pick is top 8 protected though, so it's most likely
Phoenix's.
It's going to be Phoenix's pick, and that with what Phoenix is going to do, it could end up being a really good pick. That's the crown jewel, and when that's the crown jewel of a trade, that's what you get. You get people perking up, going, "Oh, what else is going on?"
Look, bro.
So.
I see it as like you're a small market, bro. You know how hard it is for small markets to do that, to reload?
Well, the other thing is there's a lot of people that do not believe in building out around John Morant.
There's a lot of people
Jackson.
that don't,
Yes.
And I'm fine with that, too.
Yeah.
But I do think you need to put it into context.
Yes.
That somehow, some way, when they have had, let's just say, forget Jaren Jackson playing, okay? When John Morant has played in basketball games for the Grizzlies, they have won 58% of their games, regardless of who the other guys on the court are. When Jaren Jackson Jr. has played in games, regardless of whether John Morant plays or not, they've won like 59% of their games. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, these have been winning players, no matter what you want to say. If you want to say they don't play enough, fine.
Yeah.
But don't tell me that you can't win with them because you were the 2 seed, you had a year from hell, and then you were the 2 seed last year, and that's with no Marcus Smart, that's with 50 games of John Morant, that's with starting 2 rookies. You were the 2 seed until the very end of the season.
And John had you up 30
and you missed by 2 games. 2 games.
And the other thing that
has the difference.
And the other thing that has it totally.
So what if they would have been the 3 seed? Then what? Are they close? Come on. And they get to the second round of the playoffs because they beat the 6 seed. I mean,
the other thing that totally hasn't caught on.
The margins are thin.
Yeah, in the West, hell yeah.
But the other thing that totally hasn't caught on that we've been kind of touching on since the season ended is, you brought it up earlier, is the fact that, like, dude, you can't have 3 guys making that kind of money.
No, if you want to build a team around it, no, you can't.
For small market
if it's
teams
not good enough,
that don't want to be like apron tax teams,
here's
like,
the thing. You can if it's the absolute ideal fit.
It's the right?
Right?
And that's very rare to have the absolute ideal thing in the NBA.
Which is John Morant, wing Jaren Jackson Jr.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In theory, it sounds good until you know what I'm saying, you break it down like that.
Well, it also has to be a wing that can defend.
Like Oklahoma
it can't
City,
be two small guys.
Theirs is the perfect
Oklahoma
one. Star,
but it is
wing,
for now because you're not having to pay Jalen and Chet. Now, what happens if you have to pay when you pay Jalen and Chet and SGA with that? The collective around that is not going to be as good. So those other guys are going to have to raise their level.
Let's just say they keep Caldwell Pope, which I hope they do. Right?
I hope so too.
But Caldwell Pope is that's the guy that ends up guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
In the playoffs,
right?
Yeah.
And say whatever you want about the way he shot the ball last year. Their offense, I give him a break. He has been a 38. If there's one thing he is good at defense and he can knock down threes when he's open.
He has been.
Right? That has been his thing.
He a champ too?
That's
right?
it, yeah, with the Lakers and the Nuggets.
And even when you read like Kevin Pelton's breakdown or whatever, he is still an outstanding perimeter defender. And was a big part of why their defense was so good last year, right? Yeah. He is still the guy that draws the assignments.
Oh, yeah. He shot 41 from Trey, 42 from before that bad year in Orlando last year. 42 from Trey.
Which is a team without a point guard that does not pass the ball.
43 from Trey, yeah.
So, I'm going to give him a little bit of a break on what he shot last year. Tell you that I think this guy has got a long track record of being able to knock down open threes. And if there's anything that John Morant generates, it's open threes.
He loves wide open threes, bro. Come around the screen, Caldwell Pope in the corner. Bow. I love it.
Hope so. That's the hope.
But that is what he does, and that is what Ja gets you wide oopen threes.
And he's a vet too, bro. I think we wanted a vet.
He's 32.
A vet presence on the roster.
Somebody that's won something. This is what I keep saying.
Yeah, vet presence. It was
the idea of Marcus Smart was great.
Yeah, the idea.
Because it was somebody in practice, not great.
Now, Deb, this was in our press release. You said, didn't he win a championship? He is one of 4 active players in the league to start for teams that have won titles on 2 different teams.
Damn right. Shout out Ross Wood.
Well,
finding that
LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, and Drew Holiday.
That's one of those.
Won titles for 2 different teams starting.
In fairness, that's our Thaddeus Young graphic.
That absolutely is.
That's our Thaddeus Young graphic.
We need to put that. We need to put that graphic out.
But he
That's a great graphic.
He is a guy that can knock down corner threes and defend.
Yeah.
And so, I've always liked Cole Anthony. I like the energy. Yeah. I hope he's around too.
Rose, I think I'm with you. I've convinced myself if we do put it, because I am anti-draft picks. If we piece that together with a draft pick and make some shake, give me like a Mark Williams, give me a Daniel Gafford type big. I'm with it.
Yeah, Hollinger had that thing in his piece, that the Cole Anthony thing, because of how trades work now.
Right.
With this, you can bring back more. The Grizzlies can bring back $7 million more.
Oh wow!
So that puts them in the role for $20 million guys. You can't attach Cole Anthony for 2 months to another player. You can't. You're not allowed to. But you can attach picks to him. So you've got other picks you can mess with to say,
I don't want a pick.
PJ Washington's available.
Yeah, Walzer, PJ Washington. Or if you don't want PJ Washington, give me Daniel Gafford. I'll take
Gafford.
Here's what I will say: I defend my media brethren on the sense of like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
right.
Yapping, bro. Okay, your boy with the 40 or the 50th best player, he was out of pocket. He was out of pocket with
Kevin is just trying to get attention.
Yeah, he
knows he's got a lot of people from Memphis that listen to what he says, or follow him.
He was definitely out of pocket with that, bro.
By virtue of the podcast, and that's crazy. Come on. He knows that.
You can't sit here and name.
No, that was insane.
You get engagement.
The 40 to 50 was insane.
Stop engagement for him in KOC.
It's good engagement.
Yeah, it is very.
I love Kevin. I love Kevin, but I didn't even want. My day was spent with people tagging me with that, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
get your mans, bro.
This is goofy.
Yeah,
it's goofy. It's just goofy.
It is 40 to 50. Like some of the stuff he said about Ja is like, okay, that's fair, that's valid.
But
that's facts. But
then you messed it all up.
Here's the thing. This is what I keep asking. If John Morant is not that good, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is not that good,
then why does everybody want him?
No. Not why does everybody. How are the Grizzlies good? every time they play.
Every time they play, how do they make the playoffs? If they're not, if those guys are not good at all,
Or to your point, bro, if they're not that good, why do they always come up and, hey, this team X would love to have Jaren Jackson Jr.
The other thing that's funny,
like I bet they would.
I bet they would.
I never. We've spent 5 years with nobody caring about Desmond Bane.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Until yesterday.
Man, everybody cares. They already gave him a nickname, by the way.
Who?
The streets have already given Des a nickname. 3 Rex. Oh. That's actually pretty
I like
good.
3 Rex.
3 Rex is good.
3 Rex, man.
I think he's going to be great. You know, I like that
Man.
Orlando team. I think he's going to be great
Dude,
there.
that's-
I do. I think he's going to be great
That
there.
is-
And we love him. I just think it is the irony of all ironies is nobody has talked about Desmond Bane or cared at all. And then yesterday it was like,
everybody started doing that Desmond Bane takes.
yes.
Everybody found
what?
out. Everybody found out Desmond Bane played for the
Yeah.
Grizzlies yesterday.
It's just bizarre.
I can't believe nobody put up the new starting 5 of the Magic graphic and said, "Who's beating this starting
they did.
5?"
They did. It was
it
on
was
my-
out
it was on-
there.
it was on timeline.
It is an awesome. I mean, Suggs, Dez, Franz, Paulo, and Wendell Carter. Like that is
That
an
is-
awesome starting
I do
5.
A
not-
lot of wide open shots.
Hey,
it is.
and here's the crazy thing, and you know, there's going to be people that say, you know, the Grizzlies got fleeced or the Grizzlies fleeced the Magic or whatever. Like, I honestly, this is one of those trades where I totally get it from both people's perspective. And look, if the Grizzlies do not make big changes this offseason with the assets they were given, my expectation, and this is what I wrote when I tweeted about it, I think he'll be great in Orlando. I think Orlando fans are really going to love him. I also think you cannot say no to 4 picks, a pick swap, and 2 assets, because if the Grizzlies don't use their assets to get better, this did not make them better.
No.
So the question is,
You took a step back to make a step
correct.
forward.
This has got to be a step back to take a step forward.